Hi, I'm Lisa Bedford. Let's continue talking about relocating. Whether it's relocating out of the United States, which more and more people are considering doing, or just relocating within the United States, maybe moving to a rural location or a homestead, maybe taking on the task of running a farm. It's something maybe you've never done before. But for whatever reason, as part of your survival plans and your research and maybe your concerns for future events, you have decided that where you are located is maybe not the best place to be long term in the future. So, before we talk about specific locations outside the United States to move to, and that is what I told you in my last video I would cover, but it's occurred to me that there's something even more important than choosing Uruguay or choosing Costa Rica or England, where your grandmother's from, or any of those locations. The bigger question to me is you. Are you at the right place and at the right time in your life and in your circumstances to make such a drastic decision and a dramatic move? Here's an example. Do you have the right temperament? What is your temperament like? Are you fairly easygoing? Do you adapt to things quickly? Think about a time where maybe you've had to adapt to a new job. Maybe suddenly you found yourself with a brand new boss. Maybe suddenly you found yourself having to move across country for whatever reason. Um, did you find it easy just to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to accept this new reality, I'm going to adapt and move on? Or did you find yourself, like many people, just kind of fighting that and really struggling, wanting to have things the way they were, whether it was a relationship or a job or any set of circumstances? I think that one's ability to adapt, accept and adapt is going to be a significant factor in whether or not they should relocate. And if they do, how easy that decision and that new life is going to be for them. And that would apply outside the US and it would apply inside the US, just to a different area. I think a lot of times people who talk about moving, to the American Redoubt area, that is popularized by James Rawls. And I have heard people who have done that. Some have adapted very quickly and easily, and others have struggled. So they've struggled financially, they've struggled because of weather concerns or health concerns for whatever reason. So, number one, consider your temperament and that of your family. I am pretty adaptable. Years ago, I did live in Europe for a time, and I have lived in the Middle East for a time. And when I get, boots on the ground, I start looking around at how people are dressed and what they're eating and what they're doing for fun. And I found that I don't know why, I just adapt very, very quickly. Now, I don't know that that would be true for my husband. He's very much a traditionalist at heart. So temperament and adaptability is a big factor. Another one are expectations. What are your expectations for this new location? Maybe you're considering moving to a wonderful off-the-grid organic farm in Panama. You'll be living in, probably, second world conditions, maybe at best. Are you expecting to live in first world conditions? When I lived in Germany, that was a piece of cake. The grocery stores were there, the malls were there. I mean, the public transportation was there. It was actually a very easy transition. It might not be so easy for me or for you if the conditions were really different. And if the reliability on sanitation, toilets, clean water, wasn't something you could take for granted. Maybe a place where electricity kind of comes and goes. What are your expectations? And here's a good test. How do you handle rugged camping? Go out and pitch a tent, sleep on the ground, cook over a campfire, and then just see and try that, for one night, and then try it for 2 or 3 nights, and then maybe try it for a week and just see how you cope. Are you enjoying the challenge? Are you looking for ways to deal with this new reality, to enjoy what there is to enjoy, and maybe overlook the discomforts? I don't know. Each person really is at a different place on all of these factors, as though each one is a separate continuum. Another one is age. Okay, so age. I had a very wise man on my Facebook page a few weeks ago comment that your prepper plans, your survival plans will change as you grow older. And he pointed out that someone with very young children entering school, they may very well decide we need to be in a place where there are public schools if they are not prone or they don't think they can homeschool for whatever reason. Then as their kids get older, Well, now what kind of opportunities are there for their older teens? If they're living way out in the country, it is there's a very, very good possibility that their older teens, as they graduate from high school and they move into their early 20s, in order for them to establish their own and their selves as a professional or have a career, they may very well have to leave home, maybe forever, and then just come back, for a visit once in a while, just for the sake of having the opportunities that they want to have. And then your life continues and you reach a point, and I haven't gotten to that point quite yet, but you reach a point where health concerns become an issue, where you want to be near certain doctors who may be familiar with you, have treated you before. You want to be near a hospital. Someone emailed me recently and they said, okay, we're not as close to a hospital as we really need to be, but we're in a great location, other than the fact that it would take about a 15-20 minute at least ride in an ambulance to get us to a hospital in an emergency. It really all depends on where you are in your life. And going along with that is our health factors. There are some countries that may have very good socialized medical systems that have gone on record to deny residency to even professionals with jobs waiting for them in country, and deny them residency because they had a child who was handicapped in some way, even autism. Autism was a factor in several cases of families who had jobs and were planning to move to Australia. And the Australian government said, no, we're looking at the cost it's going to, the cost for caring for your child for whatever reason throughout their entire life. And that is not an acceptable expense for us, saying that you're not a resident, you're not a citizen. So that can come into play. Some people have said that many of these countries, it might surprise you, but they have actually very good hospitals with American trained doctors. And a lot of these doctors, from these other countries, they come here for training and then go back to their home countries. So research is needed there if this is a factor and a consideration for you. Um, let's continue with age. Let's take a look at younger people. People maybe in their early 20s, maybe young married couples. It might be a great time for them to move in many respects. On the other hand, many very young people have not had time to save up a whole lot of money, which leads me to money. Money is definitely a factor, and it's going to make a huge difference. It has been very, very easy for someone like James Cameron to announce that he is moving to New Zealand. Some of the young billionaires that have made their fortunes here in the United States through software companies, online ventures, etc., it's easier for them to just say, I'm going to move myself, all my money to Hong Kong or the country of their choice. What about you? I mean, just for getting started in a lot of different countries, it's going to take $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 just to get through all the legalities and paperwork to even get established there in that one single respect. Now, if you leave America and you are taking a few suitcases with you, that is going to be quite inexpensive. Some people might say, we're going to need furniture. We're going to need to take, the crib. We're going to need to take all these other things that are important to them. If that's their decision. But that is going to affect the cost of the move. The really smart way to make the move, whether it's in the United States or outside the United States, is to go to several different possible locations, maybe even different locations within a country, different locations within a state, and see what you think about them. And what does that take? It takes two things, time and money. If you don't have time for that kind of travel, and if you don't have the money for maybe multiple airfares to go to Chile, for one person to travel to Chile, as I've been looking at airfares, ever since that one woman told me that that's where they moved, the airfares from Texas are going to be $800 to $900 round trip. So I might be able to go there once. I can't check out the entire country and every possible neighborhood in that one trip. But to go back to Chile repeatedly with that airfare every single time with my husband, now we've doubled the price. Now we're considering, okay, we're going to move here. We've traveled here. We have found a place to rent. And now what about all of our property? And how are we going to move that? So a lot of it comes down to, number one, your will. How strongly do you believe you need to move? That's number one. Number two, if you decide to move, then begin doing a self-assessment a very frank assessment of yourself, your own temperament, your personality, your expectations, practical issues like age and health, time and money. All of those are going to factor into whether or not this transition is going to be easy, or whether you will end up utterly miserable, drained of your small fortune, and frantically trying to find a way to get back to the United States and then starting over from scratch. That doesn't sound very attractive either. I'm not trying to talk you into this or out of this, but that really is the reality. I mean, even a move, when our family moved from Arizona to Texas, that was traumatic. You know, we had pets and it took a while to sell our house in Phoenix. And that was one of the most traumatic times of my life. And it was just scooting from one state over to another. That's all, and same language. And, we miss the Mexican food of Phoenix, I will say. And by the way, don't underestimate food and different comfort items as you begin to research and find a place that maybe suits you and your family. Because here in Texas, we're not finding the same Sonoran Mexican food that we loved in the Phoenix area. It's all Tex-Mex here for the most part. So those are some factors to consider. It is, yes, it is about the actual location that you may end up in, and I will address that in the next video. But the bigger factor, the foundational factor, is you. You and the loved ones you're going to be taking, your own set of circumstances, your personality, your skill set. And until you kind of get, kind of solidify in your mind those elements, then don't even think about packing up and moving to Uruguay or Costa Rica, no matter what you hear, because a lot of these expat websites, they're all going to give you a glowing picture because, they're selling insurance, and maybe they're going to be, they have rental cars, or they have rentals that they want to rent out, to people coming in, whatever. It's not that they're not trustworthy, but you need to just understand first why you want to move and do that self-assessment that I mentioned, and then start looking into countries. All right. So no cut and dried answer by far. I think most people who make this move out of the United States in particular, they take months, if not years, to do the research and get in a position where they have the money saved. Maybe they've taken care of different health issues, dental issues, whatever here. And then they feel like, okay, we're ready to cut the apron strings and try something different. I hope this has helped. May not be the really quick, short answer. Everybody pack up and move, to Costa Rica. That's the place to be. No, I don't think there is any one location that is right for everybody. So next video, I really will provide specific information about a few countries in Central and South America, as well as some choices in Europe. And I'm going to be looking at countries that have the easiest requirements for residency. It doesn't do any good to show up at a border with tons of suitcases and, piles of luggage behind you, as well as all the kids, and think that they're just going to let you in and you can just live there. You're not moving into a new apartment building, you're moving into a new country, with their own set of laws and their own set of requirements. So we will tackle that in the next video. I hope this has given you food for thought. This is Lisa Bedford, the Survival Mom. I'll catch you the next time around.